Hey everyone. So, as you can see, I have not unpacked crap. I have not settled in. My camera still in the corner. We're making it. We're going to get here. We're going to get settled in this office eventually. I just shot some videos with Lauren. Previous to this, we did a 10 question session, and then we did one episode of wine about funerals. So I've only had one glass, so I'm still on top of my game here. It was fun. I haven't seen her in a while. So, hey guys, everybody. I love answering some questions. Time to start setting bouncers. Oh, you are welcome, Leo. You are awesome. Aw, thank you. Hey, Dennis. Dennis and I, so Dennis is down in, I could say South, but you're down in Florida, but you have a lot of Puerto Rico knowledge. So we're going to tap into that and see about some funeral cultures down that way and see what's going on. So, hey, Michelle, which I think is how you pronounce your name. We email all the time, and I'm pretty sure. You're welcome, Mason. So you guys start dropping some questions at me. I'm going to answer one that somebody had sent. Scrapper had asked me, I have a couple questions. Are you responsible for contacting the doctor to sign off on the death? So in Michigan, yes, we contact the doctor to sign the death certificate. The hospice would pronounce, or a hospital would pronounce with the doctor, but we actually contact to get the death certificate signed. Some states, you don't need to go through a funeral home. In those states, you, as a person who lost someone, would actually track down the doctor to get the death certificate signed, or you go through a medical examiner if it's a non-overseen death. So if they weren't under the care of hospice or hospital, then you go through the medical examiner or coroner. So more like a party, shots on top of the casket for one last cheers. You know, it's funny, people want a party a lot of times for their funeral, but then when it comes to it, it seems almost disrespectful sometimes to do some of that kind of stuff for the people who are left behind, unless it's like an Irish wake where you're drinking whiskey or things like that. But it's not like you're going to have a rave typically when there's a dead body in the room or when you're at a funeral. People are going to be sad. You can't stop people from being sad because you're gone. Even if you want this huge party of remembrance, it's not like you're going to stop people from missing you or from hurting or from being sad that you're gone. You can't do that. There's no way to stop it from happening. So they can do shots. They might be crying though. Just saying. You're welcome, Richard. Thank you. How is removing a body from an upper bedroom? So Jim, it's all just functionality. So you just have to figure out your layout. It depends, like, how does the staircase wind? I've gone to a beach house with only a windy up to the top, like metal staircase to bring a man down. There's different types of not just stretchers, but carriers to kind of wrap the body in to bring them down. You hope that the person is not going to weigh a lot. Sometimes they do, and you just work it out. You do the best you can. The family understands, and sometimes they'll be helpful and they'll be there to help you with the person, but they understand what you're doing and what you're kind of working with in terms of situation. So a lot of times a person has had to been brought out of the home, maybe by like an ambulance, like to the hospital or something. And so trying to get them to the hospital stretcher, same situation, same exact process. If it's a struggle then, it's going to be a struggle getting them out once they've died. How do you decipher next of kin when there isn't a clear spouse, one child, etc. situation? So there's a hierarchy, and it's typically spouse, adult children, parents, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, cousins, and down the line. So you just keep going down the line. And then some states require a majority of those next of kin. So if it's children, you have to have a majority of the children signing off whatever your disposition is. Or both parents or all the brothers and sisters or all of the nieces and nephews or all the cousins or all the whatever, all the way down the line. So I'm new on here. I've watched many videos. I'm not in the funeral industry. Thank you guys. Have you ever thrown a casket bouquet to the crowd to see who's next? No, but I kind of do think that like the memes about that are sort of funny because it is true. Like at a wedding, you throw flowers and whoever catches it. So it is kind of a funny meme. I will joke a little bit about that. Thank you, Ian, for the support. How does everyone get autopsied? Would a 109-year-old get autopsied to determine COD, or does the obvious CODs mean you bypass the autopsy? So the only reason you get an autopsy is if you die outside of a medical examiner's or a medical personnel's care. So if you're not in the hospital or a hospice home or under hospice at your home, or you have if there's anything that looks a little hinky, if you, I don't know, you have a knife in your chest, or there's a whole bunch of medication that doesn't add up, or let's say you've died at home and you have a history of a heart condition or something like that, they're going to rule it a natural death. They're not going to do an autopsy. So whoever the medical examiner, investigator, or coroner on site is going to determine whether or not you get an autopsy. And then you would go to the pathologist or the medical examiner to actually get the autopsy. So no, a 109-year-old, unless there is a fall or some sort of concern, is not going to have an autopsy typically. I know, Chris, you can't determine whether they're going to be sad or not. It's a reaction. When people lose somebody, you're going to be sad. That's just how it is. Oh, hi, Kari. My daughter's eyes were like aliens. The whites had turned black. I am not quite sure about that. So a lot of times the corneas, the colored will turn a light blue. Like no matter what your eye color was, it's almost like this fog over. And so they do look like this grayish blue color. I've never seen, I don't think ever seen the white really turn black. So I'm not quite sure. I start the mortuary science program this fall. Hey, Shannon, at the U of M, University of Minnesota, I'm guessing. Yes, no. Are you in my student group on Facebook? If you're not, any students, head on over to Funeral Directing 101 on the Facebook, as the old people say. I will consider myself the old people. And join up in that group. It's really good. This week was giveaway week. So every day I've been giving away some stuff to students. So head on over there. When a casket is taken out of the hearse to go to the cemetery plot, should there be a funeral home assistant in the front and back of the casket? How should this look? There should be one funeral home attendant. Typically, I like to be that person because unless I know that the part-time person or attendant is very hands-on and gives clear instructions to the pallbearers, I like to be the one on that casket, because if that casket's dropped, it all comes back on me because I'm the director overseeing everything. So yes, somebody needs to be on that casket, giving clear instructions, holding on, especially to the end that's coming out in case everybody does not grip on when they're supposed to grip on. Yes, there's still a chance you could drop it, but at least you're controlling the situation a little bit. I don't think you need to have two attendants on. It might be a little bit of overkill at that point, but one person should be with that casket and helping guide and helping talk to the pallbearers and kind of feeling the weight differentiation the whole time. Has anyone ever prevented you from moving their loved one and freaked out? They have not. We encounter some sad situations. We go to hospitals and take babies away from new moms and have to take them away from them, or children out of homes who've died of cancer, or, husbands away from wives that just don't want them to be gone. So we've taken some people, we take them, and that's what we do. It's going on like the remover when you bring somebody into the care of the funeral home is, to me, one of the most personal things that we do, because we are going in and taking a loved one from their family into our care, and they're letting you take them. So it's a pretty big deal. And I'm surprised that I haven't been fought or like punched out or fought off, or somebody throw themselves on the hood of the removal vehicle or something. But I'm lucky, I guess. I've had pretty good situation. Oh, awesome, Shannon. Good. Can I make a living will without using a lawyer? How can I make it legal? Ooh, Laura, great questions. This is one thing I'm going to dive into a little more, is trying to meet with a lawyer and get some of this legality situation, because a lot of people write wills. I do wills because they write down their wishes and they call it a will, but they've never filed it. They've never used a lawyer. It's not actually a legal anything. It's just their wishes written on a piece of paper and given to someone. So there's a huge differentiation on a will and actually making things legal. So I want to get all the clarifications so I can pass on really good information to you guys about it. A lot of new mortuary school, James and LaCruz. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm going to slaughter your name. LaCruz. That's fun. Cincinnati, yay. I'm coming to Cincinnati soon to come to the mortuary school. We haven't set an official date, but we've been chatting, and that's my alma mater down there. So, and there's a brewery that used to be a funeral home. So I see a couple videos I'm going to be shooting, and I know I have a couple people down there that want me to do a meet and greet. So Cincinnati in the house, I'll be coming for you. People as people, dependent, loved ones, the body. You know, it's funny because sometimes I will say the body, or not even them or he or she or that, but you use almost that or something. But it's usually, if I'm referring with other funeral directors, I think it's almost a disconnect mechanism that we do as to how we refer. And I always try to put myself into the arrangement stance where I'm talking to a family when I'm on here. Whereas if I was talking to another funeral director, it would be a little more casual and more business. And that's just how you have to function. If I functioned in the reality that I'm dealing with loved ones and sadness and stuff all the time, you can't do your job. So I think that's a disconnect. But thank you for appreciating that. I really do. His eyes were, Jim's talking about a family friend, his eyes were glazed over and opened. Is that something that happens right before you pass? So having your eyes open is natural. It's actually a forced thing for you to actually close your eyes and close your mouth. So when you die, open mouth, open eyes is natural. That's just how it's going to be. That's why we have to close everything up. And yes, your eyes cloud over. The corneas cloud with that kind of bluish gray. And I need to look into more of almost the physicality of that, in terms of, are you blind kind of in that moment? Like, what does that actually mean in terms of sight and such? Laura, so you don't have to spend a lot of money to get your wishes granted. You just need someone that's going to advocate for you when you die. Check into your state and see if there is a designation form. So like Michigan has a form. I could go and sign and say, hey, I want Laura Gettel to, or however you pronounce your last name, to choose what my disposition is going to be. So you just have to put someone in charge that you trust, and your state may have that. So check into that portion of it rather than like a living will and stuff. Thank you, Dr. Mortician, down in Alabama. That is a state I don't think I've ever been to Alabama. I need to come down south. There are a lot of places I want to go down there. Not in the summertime though. So I do not envy your heat down there. Can you give me advice on being a you? Oh, that's a big question. Shoot me an email, LaCruzzi, and let's chat more about some things that you have specific questions on. My mom was a fair-skinned and freckled redhead. Not sure what the funeral home did, but the time we got to view her, she was brown. A freckle couldn't be seen. You know, her skin may have been just discolored, and in order to cosmetize her, it covers all the freckles. One thing that you can do if you have an airbrush, you can instill freckles back on the tissue. You can do that with other cosmetic with like a little brush as well and dabble little freckles. And not all people pick up on those little subtleties though, like little moles and freckles and things. And so unfortunately, it sounds like just a cosmetic issue that someone maybe wasn't as trained as they could have been. Hey, Richard, I have showed pictures of my husband. I've talked about him before. I think it was the video I talked about people who support you when you go to mortuary school and stuff, but I'll try and show you another picture of him here soon. What does dressing someone in the clothes sometimes extra padded and the clothing is too big? Dressing is really, that's one video I'm working on. It's going to take some time and lining up because it's more than just me doing a video. I need a few people for that one. Clothing bigger than smaller is always better because we can tailor it easier. You slice it down the back and you can tuck it in around easier than if it's smaller, you know, like through here is going to be tight. And so if it's bigger, you can tailor it in around a lot easier than if it's too small. And if you have to use plastic undergarments to protect from leaking, things like that, you can fit them easier as well. Any random death cases, like odd cases, cause of death, shark attack, wild animal, just random craziness. What made you just sit back and be like, how in the world? Yes. So there is an area near me, and we kind of call it Darwin's waiting room. It's actually cleaned up quite a bit recently, but I'm sorry, I have a heating little blanket on because I'm always cold, and it got a little actually toasty, so I'm trying to turn it off. So we have this little area near us called Darwin's waiting room by some funeral directors because people die in really crazy ways there. One guy was huffing gas. You know, you huff gas to get high, kind of like you do with aerosolized stuff. Well, he did that and he smoked some cigarettes. What do you think that's going to do? So he burned himself from the inside out. It was the dumbest thing. And unfortunately, like, you know, you're high and things just don't make sense. You don't realize what's going to happen. So sometimes things just not always logical. Yeah. Yes, Howard TV fan, flick paint with the blush or with the brush and you get the little freckles. Totally. Victor's still alive. He is still around. Thank you on the adorable kids. I do kind of love them. I'm a little partial. They were fun. I said, do you guys want to be on one of mommy's videos? I try and keep them private, but they thought that was kind of fun. There is a body farm in Tennessee, and that's on my top 3 list of places I want to go. So you can donate your body so they can scientifically examine decomposition. Can family visit if you decide to do that? I do not believe so. It's kind of like a medical school. It's not like you can go visit your loved one when they are like their head is over with in your nose and throat, and then their body's over with the orthopedic unit. You can't go visit your loved one. It's once you're donated, you're donated. You will get their body back, their cremated remains after the studies have been done, but you can't just go out and watch your mom getting big from decomposition and maggots all over and everything. You don't want to see her like that. And so they're not going to let you do that. I am guessing, and I would say I was pretty sure about that. No, it's never too late, Dennis. A lot of people, this is a second career choice for, because people didn't go after it when they were younger because of maybe they were too concerned about what people think, or, am I going to be thought of this way or that way? And so people do put this career choice off, and they go back to it later in life when they understand that it doesn't matter what other people think, and they understand what their passion is. And so they go after it. Leo Porter, any family members ever call after hours and request to go see their loved one before or after services? Not really, which surprises me, because I think if I had a loved one at the funeral home, like my kid or one of my kids or my husband or something, I probably would never leave. I would camp there the whole time. So I am surprised that more people don't ask to stay or don't want to come early or things like that. It goes back to, do people know that's an option? Do people know they can even ask the question? I don't know that they actually do. So if a person's been dead for a month, is a public viewing possible? I'm not going to say it's not possible, but most likely no. At that point, especially wherever they've been, there's not going to be much tissue that you could do anything with at all. Where does the funeral home assistant hold the casket? On the ends. So there's typically handles on the ends, or just up under the end. You just hold up and under the end of it. Do you watch Kaitlyn's videos? I will catch snippets of them. I honestly don't watch a lot of YouTube videos in whole. I just don't have time for a lot of that. Some of her videos I'll turn on if somebody recommends one. I'll turn them on and when I'm in the car to listen. So I love her approach to the knowledge base and the history and things. She dives into areas and I'm like, oh my gosh, I would love to learn about that. But it's not something that's in my wheelhouse per se. I would essentially just be researching and then retelling that information. And I do that about some things, but she has studied history of the business and she has gone to school for that. So that is part of her, knowledge base that she has learned. Yeah, Steve, sometimes if there's purge or if there's leakage, you just do a quick fix. You never know what you're going to use. You just kind of make it happen. What's the highest price funeral did you do? Oh, I don't even know. I honestly don't pay attention to that. It doesn't really matter to me. I get more sometimes out of the cheapest funeral than I do the most expensive. It's just numbers. And that's why I say I'm not the best business person when it comes to this, or salesperson, because that's, to me, is not that big of a deal. What? She closed? Oh, I don't even know what you're talking about, Howard. Now I'm like, what is Howard talking about? Should I be consumed by this? She closed. Yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about. Thank you, SG. I literally, this is just me. This is a Thursday night. I slept about 12 minutes last night. I feel like I slept about 6 hours and I was up 9 times. I don't know why. I just couldn't sleep last night. I made an arrangement today. I did a first view today, caught up on all of the stuff in between, and that was driving between 3 different chapels, and then came home and made dinner and did the mom thing, and now I'm doing this. So I'm about as real as I can get, and talking about just And it's funny because when I talk about funeral stuff, to me, I might as well be talking about, hey, I got up, I went to the grocery store, I went for a walk, hey, I embalmed somebody, and they're leaking out of their mouth, and this is how I fixed it. Like, it's just an extended part of me. I always say that, but yeah, it is kind of what it is. Susan's asking, can you pre-order caskets? Is it common? So you can pre-arrange for a casket, but funeral homes typically are not going to order your casket in, because you learn a lesson in funeral business where you have an imminent call. Ooh, they're right on the verge of death. We're going to order a casket. That way we have it handy. 3 years later, you still have the casket because they rallied and they're back home. And so until the person's died, you typically don't order anything. You don't order the casket, but you can put in a pre-arrangement where you pre-fund for the casket you want. And then if it's not available, then they can get something that's a close proximity, or your family can use that money towards a new type of casket. Thank you, Ginger. I feel like my eyes, like I just want to go to sleep right now, especially having my one little glass of wine with Lauren to do my video. It was almost like NyQuil. Tim Hortons, Ian. Lauren, who is addicted, Little Miss Funeral, is addicted to Tim Hortons, and she got me stuck when they were doing the roll the lid crap. I'm so jealous that you get to have Tim Hortons all the time. Where are you located that you have Tim Hortons so I can come visit? No, I'm not on call. No worries. We're almost 30 minutes. I was going to try and keep this around 30 minutes. What do funeral directors do at night when the funeral home is closed? You go home and you have a life. No, not at night. After visitation ends, so you kind of clean up, you get ready for the next morning. But no, you're not just hanging out at the funeral home. You're on call. Thank God for cell phones, because it used to be like pagers, or before pagers, you used to pay somebody to sit at the funeral home while they listened for the phone. Well, maybe you went to dinner with your spouse or your family, but typically it was a very much slower process. Nowadays, if you're not there getting the person and bringing them back into your care to the funeral home within like an hour, people are freaking out. Back in the day, if nobody answered the phone, you had to just wait and call a couple hours later when, Mr. Smith got home from his dinner and was able to be a funeral director for you. So it's just, it's different. Thank you, guys. Oh, Sherry Spicer, you are like the most enthusiastic watcher I have. And I was down near you in Indiana, and I might have worried. You might have like hugged me to death if I actually met you. But Sherry, you're awesome. I appreciate your encouragement. You are awesome. A lot of people don't live at funeral homes anymore. They're not built for people to live at as much anymore. The old where there is a house above, a lot of people still do. There's residents there, or they've turned those into like rental apartments that people can rent, where like some of the staff might live there, or an apprentice or a helper or something like that. But maybe not so much the funeral director living there anymore. You guys are welcome. I'm glad I could do this. I really wanted to schedule and do a live. I did one last week, and I was like, I really do like doing these. I like answering questions as they roll in. It's kind of fun to connect to you and do things live, and just grab questions as they come. Last week, though, those people, the God lovers, which I love God, but the God lovers that kind of bombed the page, it kind of threw me off a little bit if anybody was in here and saw that. Someone is embalmed and buried in an indoor temperature-controlled mausoleum. How long will the body remain in good condition? So guys, these questions, there's no answer. You can't gauge preservation. Every body is different. Every chemical makeup, every medication that is in the body, every cause of death that is in the body, everything alters. You could have two bodies that were 30-year-old women. Both died of heart attacks. Both have the exact same fluids, and they could decompose completely differently a lot of times because the person is different. And so questions of how long will somebody ask, there's no way to answer it. Honestly, there is no way to answer it. Yeah, Loma's funeral's amazing. I love her. I'm so excited we did a video together earlier because we haven't chatted in a while. We both get caught up in mom roles, and then we'll do videos, and she's like my little sister, I feel like. I just love her. No dumpster behind Walmart. A funeral's not, home's nice. There might just be residents downstairs once in a while. I am liking the house. My office has not had much love yet because I've been on mom duty. So until the girls go back to school, I'll be on mom duty a little more. We had a little bit of a incident where we had a caretaker problem, somebody that was helping watch them, and she did it naughty. So I'm going to just focus on them a little bit more. I'm still trying to pump content and work in and stuff, but I'm going to watch them the next few weeks and just enjoy them. So yay, Mama D, catching alive finally. Any new puppy yet? There will not be a new puppy. It will not happen. That was such a heartbreak. I don't think I could ever do that again. Loving a new puppy and having a puppy in our lives would be fun and wonderful, but I cannot go through the aging process with the puppy again. One time was enough, and I can't replace Ralph. He was just a magical part of my life when I needed him. And he went through when my niece died. He was there with me when I was crying in my closet on the floor one time. And every time I was having a bad moment, he just knew. He went through a lot with me. So I just don't think I'll ever replace him. I do trade embalming. You're kind of always on call when you're freelance or doing trade work. But I don't answer the phone. So it's not my primary business, let's say. So I'm not as much on call with that. And there are trade embalmers who, trade embalmer Chris, who you've seen in some of my videos. He doesn't go out during the night. He will only embalm during the day. He'll take the call and he'll be there first thing in the morning, but he has set hours that he will embalm during. And I think that's great because he's kind of sectioned off and said, I'm going to have a life. I'm going to get sleep. This is when I'll work. This is when I'm going to, be away from work, but I'll still take your call and get you scheduled for the next day. So I've been sipping wine for sure. I literally had, honestly, about this much. I'm just so tired today. So I'm a little rambly, but Angel Mommy, thank you, a moderator. I don't even know what a moderator does. I need to look in this because I know Drew had said he would be a moderator for me. So I'm going to do one more question because I am getting, go sip your mother's wine. I don't even know what that means. I do like being freelance. I have freedom to be with my kids. I have freedom to just kind of do my own thing. And Chris, I'd rather have a beer most of the time than have wine. But it's not like I drink all the time. So, yeah. I'm trying to look to see if we have one last good. Is there a difference between an undertaker and a funeral director? There really isn't, Danelle. It's mostly just usage of the term. A director can just, so let's say, look at Ohio. A funeral director's license and an embalmer's license are two separate licenses. So in that state, there technically there's a funeral director and there's an embalmer or mortician, as I would say, the person who cares for the body. So a funeral director can just be the person who is legally running the funeral, being at the graveside, meeting with the family. So they're kind of the front of the house. that whereas the mortician embalmer would be the back of the house where you're working with the body, getting the person ready. So an undertaker, I would say, would be that same back of the house type person, but it's all kind of terms for the same. It just depends who you talk to and who's using the terms. Oh, I drink too much. Well, I must, because I had like this much wine. I must be an alcoholic. It's okay. Trolls are trolls. It's no big deal. Sure, you want to write a book together. Oh, you're funny. Okay, everybody's starting to fight. I hate fighting and craziness. No, none of that, guys. Thank you for joining me live. It's been 35 minutes, so we will cut off. I'm going to get some much needed sleep. It is late here at 10:15. Woo, I'm so old. Thank you, guys. Post questions. Let me know what you want to hear about next. My goal is that next week is going to be a video a day week. They may be kooky little videos, but like my cat poop coffee that I did try and drink, which coffee does have a lot to do with funeral directors when you're tired and you have to meet with families all day. So a lot of videos coming hopefully next week. Thank you guys for the support. Thank you for all you do. We hit 25,000. Let's go for 50,000 subs and keep it rolling. So I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.